everyone, and welcome back to Crowley House Flower Farm. Today I'm out cutting just some evergreens. It's the start of wreath making season and we have our first order that's supposed to go out the door tomorrow. So I am just cutting a little bit of curly pine. I've cut some just regular, I think it's shore pine. I've cut some Doug fir, and I'm just cutting a little bit of a cypress as well that's going to be used later in another order. Our wholesale company is requesting a few things, so that's going in that. We just got a load of Noble in. Me and the kids went and picked it up down at our friends Bethany and Charles, and we are just starting the season off with a full list of greeneries that we're selling either wholesale or we are just shipping out as a wreath. As you know, our wreaths are selling through SCHREINERS Iris Gardens. If you are familiar with them, they have amazing iris rhizomes for sale, and I think they do alliums this time of year, so beautiful alliums. And then they have our wreaths and a beautiful gift shop as well. I believe they have our book there. Super supportive company, family run and operated, so we love the collaboration between us and them. I mean, look at this fall color today. Isn't that just gorgeous? So today I'm just finishing up cutting. I've got some big loppers that I'm using, got the big guns out, got some Felcos just as a hand clipper. Sometimes for those big branches, those large loppers work really, really well. And then for the smaller ones, I just like to go in with my Felcos and just go cutting away at it. So I'll show you what I got here. So I'm also cutting this Alaskan cedar, which has kind of got this weeping habit to it, which just makes for a really great, like if you were going to do a garland or something like that. So we're cutting some of this and it is just beautiful, has an amazing scent to it. If you live in the Pacific Northwest or anywhere where there's lots of pine trees, this time of year when you're cutting is so therapeutic. I love using this as just kind of a whimsical feel to it. I believe it almost looks like some sort of redwood, which is kind of fun, beautiful. Not completely sure on this one, but when you're cutting stuff like this that's thin, generally we'll do it by a weight, or we will just do it like this is 10 stem bunches. It's just a nice handful to use in a wreath, or if I'm selling it to wholesale. So that's really, really nice. I love how this one has just a little bit of pine cone to it. You see that just a little interest to it. So I'm always looking for at least one of my pieces to have something fun in it. It sells better. It's kind of like the little jewelry on it. When I'm cutting, I also cut sparingly on the tree. I'm careful about where I'm cutting, and because obviously you need to cut again the next following year, and you don't want a misshapen tree. So we're really careful about how we're cutting these. Every year we've cut on these for probably 10, 15 years now, but they're still looking really good and smelling good. That's the main part. So on to the next. So the Pacific Northwest is known for Christmas trees. That's one of our biggest crops here that we grow. And every year it's really kind of cool because they use helicopters to pick up big piles of them and they move them across the sky. And it's pretty impressive. And then they load the semi-trucks, and then usually the semi-trucks will head out and usually to California. Some of our friends grow Christmas trees. Theirs all head down to California, or areas that you cannot get are beautiful. A lot of them are Doug firs or noble pine. So it's kind of a fun operation to watch if you're around. But, we do have some beautiful trees that we're able to grow here in the Northwest. It's always so fun this time of year to find the different textures and different things to create our wreaths, just to make them so unique and individual. So it's been just a delight out here. The weather has been perfect, just kind of sweatshirt type weather, and I'm just enjoying this time by myself as I'm cutting away and getting our holiday season off to a fantastic start. So I'm off back. I've cut what I need. I'm gonna go through again all the different things that we cut when I get back to the studio and kind of show you what I am cutting on right now. This is just the start of what we're cutting, so hopefully I'll be able to get you a few more things that we like to use. Noble pine is one of them, but that's kind of as our base, and I'll show you kind of what we have there. And then, yeah, I'm just gonna get my shop set up for wreath making and make the wreaths for Shriners and get them out the door, and you know, the list goes on. It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So evergreens, for the most part, do not need to be kept in water when you're selling them, if you do them so wholesale. Or if you cut them, you know, for your house, you can just lay them around. They will eventually dry and the needles drop. I find that pine or anything like with a long needle will drop earlier and make a huge mess versus something like a noble or a fir tends to hold up a little bit better. Anything that is harder or prickly would hold up better. But yeah, so that's kind of the rule of thumb. I'm actually putting all of mine in buckets of water because I want to keep them in the cooler, cold, because I'm going to be using them for a long period of time and I don't want to go cut every time I do wreaths. So it just keeps them fresh and nice and beautiful. So we really start to lose light this time of day. We only have a few hours to work. And so it's super important that I really think through my day as I'm doing this, and then just prioritize the jobs here on the farm, that I have plenty of light. So I'm losing light right now. It's getting dark and I think it's only 4 o'clock, but, and it's chilly. So I've got my like heated jacket, keeps me nice and warm, gloves, and I'm gonna get all these greens bundled into these perconas and then into the cooler, and then I'm gonna start setting up my shop for wreath making. That's always a workout, putting all the greens into buckets. So we just put them into clean, plain water. I don't put any preservatives or anything like that. I'm sure you could, but I don't. So now I just have to get my fur out, get the stuff in the cooler, and continue on.
I'm gathering some mint tonight for Thai steak salad. Made the dressing myself, everything. I'm gathering some mint next to the studio here because it's still looking pretty good. It's not, hasn't died from the frost yet. So I would have picked some up at the store, but I think I can get enough to get it done. So hopefully it turns out good. We'll see.
So the hard part about today is that I ran straight from a wedding, my sister's wedding. If you haven't seen that, that was the video before this one, but I went from that to dumping it all in my studio to heading out and cutting all day today. It's getting late, getting dark. Jason's got dinner going. And so I just have to finish up to a point where I feel comfortable. Tomorrow morning, I'll be up early making wreaths because we have an order that needs to ship out by, I think, 1 o'clock. So getting all the boxes, I'm just not completely set up and I just haven't had time. But Riley said she was gonna, like, you know, she's got my back. So she's gonna come help me tomorrow. I was gonna give her the day off, but we decided to go ahead and not work so hard today so that tomorrow, or today, that we could take, she took the day off and I was able to just go cut what I needed and, you know, all the things. So anyways, we're gonna make Santa's Workshop, is what I'm calling it. Santa's Workshop. That makes me feel better. So we might even put on some holiday music. It's a little early for that for me, but it might put me in the mood of cleaning up all this wedding stuff, all the wedding flowers, and getting it all put away and then getting our studio set up.
All right, I'm making a Thai steak salad. We have flank steak here, and I cooked some the way I like it, and some the way Beth likes it. I like a little more rare, she likes a little more done. And I made a homemade dressing, Thai dressing. So we're just gonna toss this in with the salad, and then we'll put the steak on top. This was also the marinade that I used for the steak. Used 1 head of romaine, some cherry tomatoes, English cucumber, mint, cilantro, red onion is basically the ingredients for the salad. And then for the dressing, it's lime juice, zest of a lime, fish sauce, brown sugar, red chili flakes, and minced ginger and fresh minced garlic. Looks good. Can't wait to try it. So when we have busy days on the farm, sometimes it's easy just to make kind of like a 1-dish meal. That way we don't have to worry about dishes. And we try to be as healthy as we can, as often as we can. Sometimes we're not, but we love salads. So a good steak salad is super easy and healthy. Really fresh.
Well, good morning. We are back at it today, and we're just trying to get as many wreaths done. My goal is to try and get at least 15, might be 14, we will see. That is kind of the priority today, and I feel like I'm already running behind. I'm gonna start by making a few bows, which I probably should have done last night, and get our pine cones ready and sorted out. So we're using a ponderosa pine cone, and then we're just doing a traditional red velvet bow. We're just doing something really simple this year for our wreaths. The recipe is going to be a little bit of fir, and then we've got some redwood, and we have a little bit of juniper with the blueberry on it. We have some ilex berry, which is red, and then we also have our noble as the base. And so I'll just kind of take you through that. It's a really simple wreath this year. The other wreath we have is going to be on a grapevine base, and then that one's gonna have kind of the same recipe as far as the foliage goes, with the fir, the pine, the noble, and juniper, and it's gonna be swagged out, and it's gonna have 3 different pine cones kind of tucked in the center of it. It's a little bit more of a high style, more creative wreath that we're doing for Shriners. And so that one's really easy. We've made some wreath bases already for them out of just local grapevine. My dad has a vineyard, and we just go up there and make the wreath bases, and then we just design from there. So it's really cool. I'm excited to put that one together as well. It's really pretty. I just have a few more vases behind me to clean up from the wedding, and Riley is gonna join us here to make, I'm just gonna set up assembly line, I guess. That's what I'm doing. So I'm just gonna go ahead and set up my assembly line and get started on the wreaths. Okay, so we're getting ready to make a few wreaths. I was going to show you the clipped. We've got a couple different wreath bases, and we get these from Oregon Wire. There's several places that you can buy these at, but we've got 2 different sizes of wreath that we're making, and this is a 10-inch ring, which has got 10 clips, and that's how you know, those little teeth that kind of come up around the greenery and kind of clamp it into place. You need a special wreath maker for this particular wreath base. These are what professionals use, so and it goes really, really fast. We're able to crank out the wreaths as fast as we possibly can. This really helps. I'll show you our setup. We have 2 wreath makers. We only have 1 in here today at the moment. We'll bring in another later in the week. We just only have about 15 wreaths to make today. So this is kind of what we use for that style. We have a few other sizes as well. One is like a 12, and that has like 12 rings around it. It just makes for a larger wreath. I think we can get to almost like a 32 inch base. So we like to stay within This year we have a small one for 22 inches. We have one at 25 inches. And then we go on up to 30 inches. And then we can even go larger with some very big hoops. One thing I like to note, see how it has that double ring here? You want that for stability. We like to have that double ring, it's what it's called. There is a single ring as well, and that one tends to be a little more flimsy. So when you start building a larger wreath, it just gets to this point where it kind of teeters and almost will break the wreath base itself. So we like to go with that double ring. So the other type of wreath ring that you have is this guy here. And this one does not have those clamps or the teeth that come around the greenery. This one you would use with some wire, and you would tie a paddle wire onto the end of this. Now you can get those paddle wires and these wreath bases like at Joann's, Hobby Lobby, any craft store, Michael's, whatever craft store is close to you, even Walmart has them. And you would tie your paddle on to this base, and then you would hand tie them and wrap the wire around your bundles of greens to make that work. I'll show you more about that one later in the season. This one is what we would use for just doing a class where people are making their own wreaths. It's too hard to have the clamp when you have like 50 people at a class or 30 people or 15. It's just too hard. So this is more for classes that we use this style of ring. So really nice sturdy base on that one.
Wanted to put you on if you want a killer Christmas playlist. Go follow mine. Look at it. It's the best, I gotta say. I made it.
Yes, it is. 'Tis the season. Like I said, we're making my little workshop into Santa's workshop as we make all these wreaths, and setting the vibe just kind of helps us crank through the wreaths and makes it a little bit nicer. I think we are gonna hang some more Christmas lights in the ceiling. Don't you think, Riley? Mm-hmm. Maybe not today because we have so much going on, but that is my goal. We're making is on, this is called the Van Duzer, and it's on a grapevine base. These we made last year, but if you didn't have access to making your own from grapevine accessible to you, then you can also buy them in bulk or in a craft store like Michael's, Joann's, any of the Hobby Lobbies, that kind of thing. They will have a regular just wreath base. I've even gotten them at Walmart, and they're usually pretty inexpensive, like $4, $5, $6, somewhere in there. They're a lot similar, but this obviously is thicker as far as the design goes, and I think it's like a little more machine looking or more uniform, so it kind of gives it a non-creative look. So that's why we're not using it this year, and partly because it is called the Van Duzer, which is a winery close by us, as well as just in our area. We get a Van Duzer wind in the springtime that just kicks up, and it comes from the coast and funnels through the Van Duzer corridor. So that's why we're doing the Van Duzer Grapevine Wreath is the name of it. So the Van Duzer wreath is going to have a brown neutral bow. It's also going to have 3 different pine cones, and it's going to be nestled in kind of a swag type styled greenery that's going to be wired in with some wiring. Okay, so we're almost done. I just wanted to show you a little bit of like how our process is, because this helps us go really, really quickly so we can get everything done in a timely manner. Otherwise, you're just fussing. So for our larger wreaths, we have 12 of the little bracket ring things, the clamps that go around. So what we do is on our table, we have 12 piles of just noble. That's our base. And then on each one, we will put, for our recipe this time, is 3 red berry, which in this case is ilex, 3 of the blue juniper, 3 of the redwood pieces, 3 of the fir. There's 4 different textures on top of the noble. So that just makes it super easy. So we've got 12 piles laid out, and now we're just gonna go and place each one with 3, 3, and 3, and then we rotate that through our ring as we're going. So it's literally grab and go, and it's really, really quick. We're adding 3 ponderosa pine cones with a velvet red bow, and it's turning out really, really good. I love this look. It's very classic, just a classic design. And yeah, it makes the brain not have to think so much when we're laying the design out for everything. The other thing we're doing is on each box, because we have 3 different sizes and 2 different designs, then on the box we have a little sticker and we color code them into different colors. So there's a 22 inch, a 25 inch, and then the grapevine. So on the grapevine we just put GV, G as in good, V as in Victor, and then that just on the sticker on the outside just tells us what it is, so that when it goes to the shipping company, which is SCHREINERS, they're gonna ship it out for us, then they're gonna know that that goes with whatever label is going for shipping. So then on the classic red velvet bow wreath, we just put down a number 22 or a 25, and we generally will have that in a different color. Today I didn't have that, so everything's in brown. But then that goes into a box, and we have 2 different sizes of boxes. We have one that is an 18 by 18 by 6, and then we have a 22 by 22 by 6, and we want the wreaths to fit really snugly in there. So that just helps with shipping and not having everything just kind of, you know, slosh around. You don't want that. You want it to be nice and snug. So that's kind of what we're doing today, and we're almost done. This is our last wreath, and we're gonna be heading out. Well, thanks for tagging along with me this week as we set up our wreath making production line and got everything ready, cut for the wholesalers as our evergreens. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up, a like, and subscribe, and we will be seeing you next time here at Crowley House very soon. Okay, guys, we'll talk to you later. Bye.